So, in going into this movie, there was only one thing I could think of as I was going in.
Shut up, Meg.
I'm sure no one's made that joke before. I am so original. So Jonas Taylor, a rescue diver, is saving some crew from a nuclear submarine, and part of it has been caved in, supposedly by a megalodon, but he doesn't see it happen. He just sees from the inside and just thinks something's attacked the submarine. He gets out, 2 people are left behind, and he gets blamed for their deaths, for leaving them behind, because the megalodon was going to attack them as they were attached to the submarine. Anyway, 5 years later, a scientific research team called Manna 1 going deeper into the Marianas Trench to try and discover what's under this hydrogen layer thing. As they go through the layer and go to this new environment underneath it, the scientists in the submarine are attacked and left stranded, and Jonas Taylor is called to go in and try and save them. And in the rescue attempt, the megalodon shark is released into the ocean. So not too much to say on the characters and acting in this movie, because the characters you do not give a shit about, and the acting is pretty bad. Like, not B-movie, not even trying kind of bad, but like this is not very good acting by any means. And honestly, you're not going to really care too much about characters in a movie like this. You just want to see a giant shark eat people. Like when people are getting attacked by the shark and they're obviously in trouble, like they don't even act like they're really in trouble. Like there's a scene in the movie where this lady, she's in a shark tank, a literal shark tank. Well, it's a shark cage, but it's more of a tank, and it basically gets swallowed by the shark, but she doesn't act like that she's getting eaten by a shark. She's like, oh, I'm inside the shark's mouth. Oh no. Ugh. And there's a scene where Ruby Rose is trying to swim to the boat and the shark's going after her, and then she gets halfway up the ladder and the shark decides not to get her for some reason. She stops halfway up the ladder and just says calmly, oh, thank you, to the guy trying to pull her up. And just like, what the hell? Like, they don't even act like they're in danger. Like, if a giant shark's coming after me, I'm climbing up the ladder, I'm going all the way up that ladder before I decide I'm safe. Stupid. Ugh, but the one bit, there's like a tiny bit of character growth in this movie. When Jonas is about to go down and save his ex-wife. By the way, his ex-wife is only in the movie, so he has a reason to go. She's only in it to move the plot along. He's going down to save her, and as he's about to submerge his submarine, he hesitates because he seems to have some kind of post-traumatic stress disorder from what happened 5 years earlier. And he sits there hesitating, and then he goes down. And then we never hear about it again. It's not like a continuous thing. I thought it was going to happen more often in the movie. Like this would be something he would have to overcome. But sure enough, later on, he's fine. He just jumps straight in the water over and over and over again. Doesn't care. He's fine. So that's the smallest amount of character growth you'll see in this movie. Everybody in this movie is stupid just so the plot can move along. The Japanese guy who's on the research vessel at the start, he sacrifices himself just so there's a reason for the shark to get up out of the bottom of the Marianas Trench. Even though I thought he had time to save himself, but he decides to just close the hatch and just let the others go. Some military guys mistake a whale for the shark, even though they showed the shark had a tracking beacon on it, and somehow they mistake a whale for the shark and kill it instead, and that creates this whole other scene. They go on a mission to kill this giant shark, and they decide to bring a little girl along for some reason. And Jonas's ex-wife, I can't remember her name, when the megalodon shark first attacked their research submarine, she gets impaled on a piece of metal. And this movie only seems to happen over the course of a couple of days. And in the final battle against the megalodon shark, she's there helping, not in hospital. She got impaled through the stomach by a piece of metal, and she's fine from that. That doesn't even get mentioned again. What was the point of having that in the movie? And everyone decides to go on boats. Fucking boats to go and try and take down this megalodon shark. Like, if there's a giant... And the first boat they were on, it wasn't even that big. And I would not be getting on that little boat to go and try and take down a giant shark. It makes no sense. Honestly, the action is the only fun you're going to have out of this movie. It doesn't really do anything super spectacular or anything like that, but it is quite entertaining to see this shark trying to eat people. The body count is actually pretty low in this movie. Not as many people died as I thought. Even when the shark is going to attack this very, very densely populated beach, it doesn't seem like that many people get killed or eaten or even hurt. But the action usually, I notice, boils down to, we're safe on the boat, here comes a shark, oh no, someone's fallen in the water, they're in danger, false tension, oh, they're back in the boat and we're safe again. Repeat this 2 or 3 more times and that's essentially the action in the movie. Special effects. I don't have much to say about special effects. Like, the shark looks okay, I guess. I will admit there are some pretty cool shots of it when the camera's up above the water and we're getting like an aerial view of the shark underneath the water. That did look pretty cool and pretty menacing actually when the shark was swimming near people, but it wasn't attacking people. This movie does suffer from some pacing issues as well. We don't even see the shark until, physically see the shark until half an hour into the movie. The first act is just people talking and giving exposition, and that's pretty much it. It's the first half hour drags. Like, in a movie where the major selling point is having a big shark in it, you want to try and get that shark on screen as early as possible. The first act of the movie, there is no shark, basically. Also feels like it could have been a tinsy bit shorter. It could have been just a bit shorter. They could have just shortened that. The ending actually happened pretty quickly, but I feel like in order to get to the ending, there's this whole other sequence. There's a couple of sequences that didn't really need to be in there, truthfully. But it's just to make the runtime go longer for some reason. I don't know. Okay, so absolutely boring dialogue and delivery from mostly actors. I think I'm probably ripping on them a bit hard. I know it's common to diss Ruby Rose a lot because she's mostly put in movies based on her popularity, not necessarily her acting skills. She is Australian, like me, in case you haven't noticed, but I don't think she was doing an Australian accent in this movie. I think she was trying to do an American accent, and she was not pulling it off very well at all. But I can't do an American accent. That shit is hard. I can't do that, but I don't see why she had to have an American accent. She could have just had an Australian accent and that would have been fine. She could just talk normally, mate. In case you didn't know, this movie is an adaptation of a novel that came out in the late 90s, I think. I surprisingly have not read the novel, but I did do a quick Wikipedia search because Wikipedia is the most reliable source of information on the internet. Anyway, I checked Wikipedia just to see the basic plot outline, just to see if there's any differences with that. I saw that Jonas in the book, he's a paleontologist and a marine biologist, so he's not a rescue diver or whatever he was in this movie. His ex-wife is a news reporter who was a bitch and not a scientist or whatever what she was in this movie. At the start of the book, Jonas actually sees the shark. He just doesn't see a submarine cave in and just assumes it's a giant monster. There are some Asian characters in there. They're Japanese because the surname is Tanaka, which is a Japanese name and not Chinese. I feel they're trying to appeal more to the Chinese audience because the Chinese market for movies now is huge, and a lot more movies are trying to hit that demographic over there. And the novel does have the same twist, which I won't get to until spoilers, because I'll just keep it spoiler free until the end of the video. I haven't got many pros. I only have one. So the only pro in this movie is that it does have some entertaining action set pieces. And that is it. That's all I've got for pros. Whew, now the cons. Cons. What have I got? Poor acting, poor characters, Terrible dialogue, pacing issues, every single character is stupid, and it doesn't go all out with its B-movie premise. It just doesn't have fun with it, and we can't have fun with it either. So I'm giving this movie the low rating of 4 out of 10. I normally like movies, even if they are pretty bad, about sharks and prehistoric monsters and all that kind of thing. I usually enjoy these kind of movies, but I did not enjoy this one, so I'm giving an extremely low rating because I doubt I will ever see this movie again. Yeah, there's 2 sharks in the movie, which reminds me of Lake Placid, which did it better, in my opinion, because we all saw, like, I don't know if everyone saw that coming, but in this movie, I knew there was going to be 2 sharks, because halfway through the movie, they kill the first one, and it's like, well, what's going to happen from here? Oh, there's going to be another shark. There was a lady sitting in front of me, and she called it. As soon as she saw that dead shark, I heard her say in front of me, oh, there's going to be another shark. Like, she was just so sure. She's just like, oh yeah, it's obvious. There's just going to be another shark. Not really a spoiler, but like what I forgot to mention is that when Jonas Taylor saw the hull of the submarine getting crushed in, like, how does he know that's a monster? I honestly don't know how he knew that would be a megalodon or some other whatever he thought, monster or whatever he thought it was. But he seems to know it's a megalodon. But what was that megalodon doing? Like, they confirm that they're under the Mariana Trench. That's where they are. But this one somehow got out earlier and was already roaming the oceans, wreaking havoc, and no one noticed. With the twist being the 2 sharks, is the biggest shark, was that the shark that attacked the submarine earlier? Or did 2 sharks get through the Mariana Trench when they escaped? The movie doesn't really tell you. I am confused. Maybe it did tell you and I just zoned out and didn't pay attention. I probably missed something, who knows. But that was my review for The Meg. As always, guys and girls, thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate the time you take to sit down and listen to me ramble about a movie. Thank you again, and I'll catch you next time.